Hi, fam. In the following tutorial, we are going to consider a grade 9 exam preparation, which is going to be based under business studies. And under the regions of business studies, we are going to talk about a question from section Z, where every grade 9 learner in an exam, be it for the external grade 9 or internal grade 9 exam preparation, can at least use the practice in order to know how to prepare a trading account. The question says, the following transactions were extracted from the books of Chanda on 31 December 2022. Amongst the transactions, we have purchases, we have sales, carriage inwards, opening stock, returns inwards, closing stock. And the instruction is that prepare Chanda's trading account. The first important thing when preparing a trading account is that when you've been given a business studies paper, it is going to contain an answer booklet under which the instructions will be pull out the answer booklet from the question paper. If we are to pull out the answer booklet from the question paper, it will contain a table where we're going to divide the columns, like in this way. So when preparing a trading account, the first and the foremost is to come up with a title. The title of the trading account is able to read as Trading Account for the Year Ended. Now, we're going to give it in reference to the name that has been for the exact business. So here, we're going to say Chanda's trading account for the year ended. Chanda's trading account for the year ended, and we've been given the last date in December and the last month in December. The first important thing and the first transaction we're going to consider will always be sales. So we're going to write our description here. We're going to say sales. When entering the value for sales, you check if there is returns inwards. Returns inwards is the other word that can mean sales returns. Sales returns are those goods that the customer can bring back because of wrong color, maybe a different size, or even some other good reasons, but not all the items, but due to the unsatisfaction of the customer. So if there is sales and then there is returns inwards, we can be able to do our calculation in the second column. For others, preferably, they can do it in the last column. So sales, the value is 100,000 kwacha. So I'm going to say 100,000 kwacha. And here, we're going to say less. Less, then we're going to say returns. Returns inwards. The value for returns inwards is 10,000. So I'm going to put a 10,000. When subtracting in business studies, we always use brackets to show we are subtracting a certain figure from a certain amount. When we say 100 minus 10,000 or 100,000 minus 10,000 is giving us 90,000. This value, which is the third value, should be entered. That is in the last column, and it is going to be called net sales. If you cannot describe that as net sales, you can call it turnover. Then afterwards, you're going to check at all if you have, that is the opening stock. So here, we're going to say opening stock. And when we say opening stock, we're going to put it in the middle column. So opening stock is 70,000. So here, we're going to say 70,000. And the fourth value that we're going to enter from what we've been given as transactions is going to be, that is, purchases. And when we have purchases, we can check if we have, that is, purchases returns. And if we don't have, we can check if we have carriage inwards. So if we have carriage inwards, we need to put it in the second column. So we have purchases and it is 40,000. So we say 40,000. Then I'm going to say add. Then we say add carriage inwards. So we say add carriage inwards. So we check for the value. Carriage inwards has, that is 30,000. And when we add this, we're going to say 40 plus 30 is going to give us, that is 70,000. So this 70,000 which you have here should be able to contain a description. And we're trying to say purchases, and that if there is a carriage inwards, you add, and then the new value that you get, you place it in the middle column to add, that is to the opening stock. So when we put this, I'm going to say stock available. Stock available. And then we're going to add 70 plus 70. This is going to give us 140,000. Then we're going to say less. And when we say less, the only value remaining is the closing stock. So we're going to say less closing stock. And we're going to check the value for the closing stock is 20,000. So we're going to say minus 20,000. And then here we're going to say 140 minus 20 is going to give us, that is 120,000. And this one is going to be called the cost of sales. So when you subtract the closing stock from the stock available, you are going to get, that is the cost of sales. And now here we're going to see and compare the value. When you compare the cost of sales and the net sales, if the net sales is less, it means you've made a loss. If the net sales is greater than, that is the cost of sales, it means you've made a profit. So this means we're going to subtract here, and thereby we're going to say when we subtract that, we're going to get, that is 30,000. When we say 90 from 120, it's 30,000. Because it will be negative, I'm going to put it in this way. Then I'm going to say gross loss. And I've emphasized saying if the net sales is less than the cost of sales, it means you're going to make a loss. But if the net sales is greater than the cost of sales, it means you are going to make a profit. So this is the gross loss. And having done that, it means we've been able to know how best we can prepare a trading account under grade 9 business studies exam preparation. The first value is the sales. And if there is no sales returns, you put the value that is in the last column. But if there is, you subtract less returns inwards. The value we get should be called net sales, and then you write it in the last column. Those are the first three. And the fourth one is the opening stock. You check. If they haven't said opening stock, then they will rather say stock available only. So that means opening stock, you place it in the middle column. And then for purchases, before writing it, you need to see if there is purchases returns or if there is carriage inwards. If there is carriage inwards, you add, but you do your calculations in the first column. Purchases, and then add carriage inwards. The value you get can be called the stock available. But you do not draft or get this value and write it in the next one. When you add, you still maintain the value here, and then you subtract the closing stock. So it's a less closing stock. And when you subtract here, we're going to say 140 minus 20. It's going to give us 120,000. And this should be called the cost of sales. But before concluding, draw a comparison between this value, which is the net sales, and this value, which is the cost of sales. This one is bigger than the net sales, and as a result, you've made a loss. So you subtract and get, that is the gross loss. I hope you find this video very much beneficial, and I hope it can add an idea to what you already know or what you wish to know in terms of preparing a trading account to prepare for an exam. Grab a paper, practice the same question after watching the video, relate it to some of other exam papers that have been able to be written before, and until you are able to claim self-reliance, keep investing your time in proper practice to yield self-reliance. Stay focused and stay determined till in the next video. For now, it's a very goodbye.